Okay, that's me. My name is Matt Clark. I work for Climber.com, used to be known as Mingle.com. Just Climber is our main product right now, so we're changing our company name to reflect that. This talk is about edge rails and what can you have on edge rails that otherwise you're going to have to wait till. Is 1.3 coming out, or are they going to go straight to 2? Does anybody know? What's the timeline on that? Okay, so either you can have this stuff now or you can wait a couple months. And there's going to be all kinds of new stuff coming. You think so? Hopefully. Although I remember when we were waiting for 1.2 to come out, and soon started in about November, and they got to about I think January 19th. Actually, I have that date on a later slide. We'll get there. And that's about as far as I got. I got to point number 2 of putting this together. So my thought was that this could be a recurring monthly talk. I mean, Edge changes dramatically and very fast. So there'll always be new stuff to talk about. So either I can come up here next month, or if someone else wants to do it, if I can't be here or whatever, we can keep talking about Edge, and you can see what's changing and what's coming down the pike, and hopefully get excited and want to play with it. Some other stuff that we can talk about at the end if you want to. You can live on the Edge too. How do you get to Edge? It's surprisingly simple. How to transition an existing app, that is not nearly as simple, but it's not really as bad either. They don't want to leave you high and dry. And then some resources on staying current. Now that's cut off. Is that better? Okay. So what and why is Edge Rails? For everybody who doesn't know or hasn't downloaded it, Edge is just the development version. It's what the core team is committing and the community is developing right now. It takes things that make it into Edge usually start off as plugins. My favorite example, which I'll talk about in a little bit, is the assert difference test that you can run. It's an assertion, and it started off in RESTful authenticated plugin that most of you guys probably use or at least familiar with, and it's now made it into Edge along with the new DB rake test that you can run. Where's Matt Amenetti? Is he here? Hey, Matt. So Matt, apparently from your email you wrote those rake stuff. Good. So hopefully you can talk a little bit about it. I haven't used them. I went and looked up a little bit. Yeah. Give me 1 second. We're going to get there. I've got a whole slide devoted just for you. So anyways, what else? There's bug fixes on Edge. If there's something that's driving you crazy in the Rails app, and you go and look it up in Track. Are they still on Track? If you go look it up in Track and see that it's been patched, well then get on Edge and you'll have it fixed. And that top one, it's well tested. It's surprising that you can use a nightly and have it be stable code, stable enough that we were running Climber on it for, 3 or 4 months, and we didn't have any issues related to running on Edge. The biggest reason to use it, just an example from the past, RESTful routes were introduced in August of 2006, and they changed the way you build a web application. So if you got excited about that and wanted to get it into your Rails, you either had to install some plugins, which worked out okay, or you could just jump on Edge and stay current, and you had it full, 4.5 months before everyone else? Okay, so jumping right into it. This is what you get right now if you were to get your application on Edge. One of the big things people were excited about, this started its life as a plugin called Sexy Migrations. Lots of people probably have installed it, but it just makes doing your migrations a whole lot easier. Rob and I were talking today about what we would do without migrations, and the answer is we'd be saying, no, we can't do that a lot more often. They're just an amazing tool, which everyone I'm sure is familiar with. But Sexy Migrations are going to make it a lot easier. So if you look, That was the plugin. I don't think I have a. I do have a mouse. Can you guys see that mouse? Can you guys read that code? Not the. Great. It's not like most of it's purple. Okay. See if I can make my screen brighter. No, that ejects the CD. No, who's got control over that thing? Can we turn its resolution up or its brightness up? That might help. No. Okay. All right. I'll walk through it. Okay. Basically, this is the old way. I'll go over this real fast. You guys all know this. These two columns are your created at and updated at. And then this, I copied this right off of somebody's blog. So this they're creating a shopping cart. So they're creating their association columns and then just a basic string of name and value. Well, down here, this is the new sexy way, and it does the exact same thing in 3 lines. So instead of this isn't very dry when you think about it. Look at how many times I had to type column, or that guy who wrote this blog had to type column. Instead, you can just do T integer and then all of your integer fields, and T string and all of your strings. And I'm not real clear yet. Somebody might know, but you can specify the default, and I don't know if it defaults for all of your fields on the.
Yeah, it's all of them.
It's all of them.
If you look at the example, it's the two that are at default untitled. Right. If you want to specify one that wasn't, then you do end up going t dot string again on the next line.
Right.
Could you give default a hash of key value type?
I don't know.
No, you can't. That would be crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would. And then the coolest thing I think is just your timestamps. That's so much more expressive about what you're doing. And newbie can come in here and they'll get a better idea that this is probably something that Rails is going to handle for me instead of having to do those two columns up there.
So Rails will automatically update that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll put those columns in there for you. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. RakeDB, coolness. Okay, here we are, Matt. There's 3 different methods that you can do they're just basically new rake tasks for controlling your database instead of having to drop to a MySQL shell.
Yeah, it's just when you set up your system, if you don't want to go to your database and manually build all the databases you need, you just modify your database.yaml file and you do RecDB create. And it will go and create all the local databases you have. So if you have any remote databases, you won't build them. It works for MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQLite. RecDB drop is really that simple. You just remove the databases. And reset is very nice when you do development. Basically what it does, it drops the database, recreate them, does the migration for you. So you have ready to do stuff and you don't even need to touch your database anymore. That's really nice. Also what it does, that it automatically creates UTF-8 databases now. So we don't have to do that manually. So all the new tables that we'll be adding will be UTF-8. And also in the new database.yaml file, the encoding is set by default to UTF-8. That's quite sweet.
It is, and it's really simple to play around with. I mean, there's not even really that much to say because it's just so easy to use.
What I use that a lot for is to create a new rec task for bootstrapping. And usually I always put that as beginning, and it will create everything. So basically for your customer, you just say rec bootstrap, and it will do everything for you. You just use that for the database.
Couple things to point out. I tried it on SQLite. I couldn't get it to go. Maybe it's something brand new.
SQLite 3.
I was doing regular SQLite or 2.
2 and 3 should work.
Okay, I just didn't do it right. But I got to go on MySQL no problem. And then your user that you're running running your application as has to have create permissions in your MySQL database. Oh, cool.
So they will be able to create based on the root access.
Very nice. This is a big one, but it's not going to be enforced. Well, let me talk about what it is first. RHTML and RXML, those are all the extensions for your views, and they're just so Rails 1.2. They're moving to namespacing these things with the .erb and the .builder extensions instead. And so this, maybe it's being a little bit anal. It might seem like it, but it's going to do a lot for. It's going to allow you to come up with your own view names for your templates. And did it really? So it's .rgs. Well, I'm going to update my slide right now, and you're going to.
So say you want to do a CSV file, right? You're not going to call it RCSV. You call it CSV.erb if you're using the ERB syntax to change it. If you had a special builder like replacement or add-on to do CSV files, you'd call it .csv.builder.
Does it assign the correct line type automatically? Oh,
No, it doesn't.
Oh, doesn't yet?
you have to like do that in your environment, or
What do you mean for your editor? What do you mean line type for what? Because this is just for the view.
yeah.
So the view is rendered by Rails. So yes, you're gonna have the mic type,
Yeah.
but not the mic type that is defined here.
Okay.
It's just when you say, when you have respond to,
Yeah.
and you respond to
Oh,
XML,
respond to HTML.
it will do it. Oh yeah, and it will get it this way.
So you could have different.
But yeah, but the old format still works. So don't worry.
And yeah, I think actually I've got a little more information coming here. Fixing them is pretty easy. This is the purple that you guys can't read is basically just my bash shell. That's an IRB that I pulled off again off somebody's blog. It just it updates all of your views to their proper extensions, or at least it does the RSTML. It wouldn't do any of the builders or the RGF. And then it's not going to be enforced until 3. So even if you, for some reason or another, don't want to fix everything up for a while, you'll be all right.
So before you put up these slides, Matt, you got a bug.
Where's that?
It needs to be .html.erb instead of just .erb.
Oh, wait, I got to go update my app because I actually ran that.
That is because the first change was done to Edge and it was just .erb, and then they switched to saying, okay, let's have .html.erb.
Right.
Welcome to Edge.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the other fun of Edge. More routes joy. This I'm really excited about. So, I can't read it. There we go. So, that top, those first 3 lines are in your routes file if you want to, say, nest albums for artists. I'm working on an application for my wife, and it's basically a CRUD application. She collects old record albums and is going to try and sell. She's going to do some things and sell them. So she's got to keep track of all the albums she's got. So I'm building her out some controllers or some resources, and it's simple CRUD. She's going to enter the artist and then enter the album, and then she actually enters, she has 6 copies of the album or whatever. So the old way we used to write our link helpers would be up top where you do artist path and then album path with the artist that it's nested under and its album. The new way in Edge that you can do it, the artist path doesn't change, but you get a namespace here on your nested resource. You get artist album path, and that is it's really valuable. Let's say you have album is a poor choice for this example, but let's say you had albums that were nested under artist and recording company or genre or anything like that, and you wanted to reuse the same resource of album with those 2 different parent resources, then this is going to make those links really simple to do because you don't have to worry about a bunch of if and or and statements. You've just got them namespace properly. But it gets even better, way better. You can now do URL for artist and this one URL for artist album. So, and that'll figure out that it understands what sort of objects it's trying to build a URL for. Yeah.
Right, this is not recommended anymore.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Man,
Actually,
I did this 2 days ago.
it will work, but it's recommended to be used by the routing system itself, not by you as a user.
So how do you handle that situation?
When you do what you want to do, you should know what you want to do if you call the route anyway.
No.
Well, let's talk about that situation where we're using my resource of album underneath genre and artist, and I want to get a hold of my parent. This is so dead easy.
Yeah, see, if you called it at parent, at album,
Yeah.
now you got the magic.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this works now, and I'm going to enjoy it until it doesn't work anymore.
No, it's gonna work. It's just not recommended to put this way.
It's slower, so you only want to use it when you need to.
Oh, that's
because you
true.
have to go find out what the classes are for each of those things and build up the regular path.
Yeah.
So
But so in the example, let me finish the example. It's not recommended that we do it this way. If I had a nested resource of album underneath artist and genre, and my controller instead of making an instance variable or class variable artist, I would make a class variable of parent, some more descriptive name, and then the controller would figure out whether its parent was an artist or a genre. So when I got into my view and was trying to make a link up to my parent, all I had to do was put parent album, and it would know either to send them back to the genre or the artist. Which I think is super cool, but apparently Core doesn't.
Also notice the first 3 lines now can be only 1 line if you say map resource artist has many albums. It's only 1 line and you can do that.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't take the time to understand it.
Yeah, the same way you have the notion to has many albums.
So it.
what about the first step in not having to specify it at all?
No, it's just routing. It's just instead of saying having a block, you just say, well, you have many resources. It's called nested resources. And what is going to be added probably this week will be actually namespacing for the polymorphic URLs. So what you can do is now in Edge you can have namespaces. I don't know if you're going to talk about that, Matt.
Probably not. I think I'm just about done.
So basically, you can have namespaces for your controllers and for everything you want. You can just use namespaces, and they want to add namespaces to the controller. So you can say, let's say URL for this namespace, and then this object and this object, and it will find out that way. But this is only for RESTful application. If you have an old type of application that is not RESTful, this is not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next month,
Yeah.
Matt and Ed doing Edge.
Okay. I didn't find a lot. I was looking. This is a page for more just little things I ran across when I was putting everything else together. And the coolest thing I found was rake routes. You can go to your command line in your application and type rake routes, and it'll show you all the routes that you have defined, which is really, really helpful when you can't figure out why that route isn't mapping properly or whatever. That's only on Edge. That was introduced on the 2nd of this month, brand new.
There's a plugin otherwise if you want to do that. I can't remember when you use a plugin for it for 1.2, I believe it might work. I'm not sure. That does a nice JavaScript interface on your application. You can tell show routes, and then you see all the routes.
And I think that's it. That's all I've got this week or this month. Anything else somebody wants to talk about? Are you serious? I Googled that word specifically.
There's no release date yet.
When they get to it.
But what you do have also is you have caching. So all the MySQL queries in Edge are cached. So instead of recalling them all the time, they're just loaded from the cache. You also
Yeah, and isn't there Robert's telling me about an asset manager that they're working on, so that you serve all your assets out to the client in one shot instead of.
Yeah, what it does is all the JavaScript and all the CSS files are just gzipped and sent to the client, and the client can just, the browser will just take them and reopen them. So instead of opening many HTTP connections, you just get one file. That should really help.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So that's it. Thank you. Again, my name is Matt. I work at Mingle or Climber, same thing. And I'll put this up eventually as soon as I fix all the typos you guys found and make it a little completer. But by the time I get it up, it'll probably already be out of date. So. The slide I wish I would have put in here were I had a bunch of links set up, all the blogs that I got this information off of. Go find it. Ryan Scraps is probably the best one. Techno Weenie. Any others, guys? For Edge stuff? Oh, there.
That concludes this episode of the SD.RB podcast. See you next time.